The morning news on TV3. My name is Bright Nana Amfo. Let's take a look at our headlines this morning. And to start from here, it's been 27 years of Ghana's 92 Republican Constitution. We'll take a look at what has actually gone into 22 years. The NDC has, with immediate effect, banned groupings within the party. The leadership of Konkomba and Anofo Youth Associations in the northern region are calling on their kinsmen in Chereponi and Saboba districts to cease fire. And on the international front, we'll tell you why Gabon foiled an attempted military coup on Monday, killing 2 suspected plotters and capturing 7 others. Thanks so much for staying there. Now let's start. It's been 27 years of Ghana's 1992 Republican Constitution. Now, the following news desk report highlights the 27-year journey.
The 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana that came into effect on January 7, 1993 provided a basic charter for the country's 4th attempt to Republican democratic government since independence in 1957. The document also reflected the lessons drawn from the abrogated constitutions of 1957, 1960, 1969, and 1979, and it incorporated provisions and institutions drawn from British and United States constitutional models. The 1992 Constitution, as the supreme law of the land, provided for the sharing of powers among a president, a parliament, a cabinet, a council of state, and an independent judiciary. However, 27 years on after the Constitution came into being, it is yet to go through any successful amendment despite several calls from legal practitioners and some civil society groups. In January 2010, the then President, late Professor John Evans Atamils, set a 10-member Constitutional Review Commission chaired by Professor Albert K. Fiajoto to make changes in the Constitution. Other members of the commission were Omanhene of Ogwa Traditional Area, Osabere Makwesi Atta II, Paramount Chief of Kumbungu Traditional Area, Kumbuna Yiri II, Na Alhaji Idrisu Abu, the late Akentina Piamenka, and Sabina Ofori-Boateng. The commission was tasked, among others, to ascertain the views of Ghanaians on the operation of the 1992 Constitution and help identify the strengths and weaknesses of the document, articulate the concerns of the people of Ghana as regards the amendments that may be required for a comprehensive review of the 1992 Constitution, and make recommendations to the government for consideration and provide a draft bill for possible amendments. After conducting a consultative review with stakeholders and Ghanaians, it finally presented its report to the President on December 11, 2011. Key recommendations made by the Commission include an amendment to include an entrenched provision for the development of a National Development Plan of Ghana, which must be strategic, long-term, and comprehensive. The Commission also recommended that the existing minimum age requirement of 40 for the presidency be maintained and that there should be no maximum age requirement for the presidency. That was not all. The Commission further recommended that in a situation where the President serves for only one term of 4 years, he should be allowed to contest for another 4-year term after an interval, but he may not serve for more than 8 years in total. Government subsequently issued a white paper on the report, accepting 95% of the recommendations and rejecting 5%. Government later set up a 5-member implementation committee to implement the recommendations that had been accepted. 8 years down the line, successive governments have all failed to adopt key recommendations of the Commission. Though the 1992 Constitution is currently the longest in the history of Ghana, many believe key portions must be amended to suit modern democratic practices.
In other news, country senior partner at PricewaterhouseCoopers Ghana, Vish Ashiagbo, says the inefficiencies in the economy can be effectively addressed with the employment of the right technology. According to him, the country needs to generate enough revenue internally to finance its development projects.
Challenges with revenue mobilization and its impact on Ghana's development as the country exits the IMF program is a major concern to analysts. With the implementation of the Ghana Beyond Aid program by government, many donor countries are modifying aid relations to reflect trade relations. The use of the right technology, according to country senior partner at PricewaterhouseCoopers, Vish Ashiagbo, will go a long way to plug the revenue leakages, which is affecting the internal revenue generation drive.
Who is doing business? How much are they generating? Who are they buying from? Who are they selling to? Where are the funds flowing? That's where we start from. Unfortunately, you cannot do those things from a very high level. Fortunately, these days with technology, you can get a better understanding with relative efficiency as to where funds are flowing. And that will be a starting point so that you can begin to cast the net a bit wider.
Although the tax identification number 10 will no longer be a prerequisite for the upfront registration of a business, the provision of a digital address, according to Vish Ashiagbo, is direct use of technology to rake in more revenue.
For the informal sector, look, we all know the informal sector. After all, we buy from them, we sell to them. In this country, if you want to register as a business, you're supposed to go to the registry. Not many people, or I shouldn't say that, a lot of informal businesses perhaps were not doing that before. Now, with the need for tax identification numbers, etc., maybe it will spur people on to do the right thing, be registered, and therefore you can be identified, and therefore you can now contribute your fair share. So it's a whole process change that needs to take place.
He said government must continue implementing strategic measures to build a soft infrastructure to ensure the broadening of the tax base.
In some politics, the NDC has, with immediate effect, banned groupings within the party. The party has also posited that it does not recognize any such groupings and that they must cease to exist with immediate effect. A statement issued by the Deputy General Secretary of our party, Peter Buama Otokuno, condemned the unlawful formation of movements, pressure groups and fan clubs in the party in some selected constituencies. Such groupings, it indicated, had been sources of conflict in the past. The statement listed some constituencies where the unlawful groups have emerged as Achuma Impunua in the Ashanti region, Bodi in the Western region, Upper Dintra East in the Central region, and Bolga Central in the Upper East region. Additionally, constituency executives of the party have been directed to communicate to the leadership of such groups to dissolve them or risk being sanctioned. Various regional executive committees have also been requested to monitor the development and apply sanctions where appropriate. The Buem Traditional Council wants Jasikan to be considered the administrative capital of the Oti region. Addressing a debate at Jasikan, the acting paramount chief of the Buem traditional area, Nana Oprao Ekwamwa VIII, said the town remains a strategic location befitting a regional capital.
The Buem Kratchi District Council, established in 1952, covered the present Oti region enclave, with Jasikan as its capital until recent administrative demarcation. The Nifahene of Buem and acting president of the Buem Traditional Council, Nana Oprao Ekwamwa, maintained Jasikan still has the infrastructure and easy interconnectivity with all 7 other districts.
It is important from the onset for government to determine and review over time a regional development model that seeks to make judicious use of the natural and other resources of the Oti region. It therefore does not make good planning to combine in a single location major functions and activities like administration, industrial, agriculture, and processing, education, and commerce.
Nana Oprao Ekwamwa commended President Akufo-Addo for his bold decision leading to the referendum, which received overwhelming support. He is confident the rest of the processes will be carried through with the same agency.
Access to the rest of the proposed Oti region from Jasikan could be described as most geographically strategic from the colonial period through independence to this day. This nodal positioning of Jasikan has facilitated easy interconnectivity with all the 7 other districts and other areas in the proposed Oti region all these years.
A member of the Joint Consultative Council, William Eje, urged citizens of the proposed region to contribute towards its development.
Now it is time to develop the region. And we know that we have a lot of citizens of Uti region who are outside the region. We have a lot of engineers, accountants, bankers, and what have you. So we are urging all of them to consider returning home to Uti region so that together we can build the region as a model region in Ghana.
In other news, the leadership of Konkomba and Anofu youth associations in the northern region are calling on their kinsmen in Chereponi and Saboba district to cease fire. The call, which was made at a joint news conference in Tamale, is among other measures to foster coexistence between the two ethnic groups. Here's a report by Zubaida Ismail.
The Konkomba and Chokosi ethnic groups have been engaged in a conflict over a piece of land in Nanduli in the Chereponi district. The conflict dates back to July 2018, when the two ethnic groups clashed over ownership of the two parcels of farmland. The clashes erupted on January 1, 2019, after a Konkomba man allegedly hit two Chokosi youngsters with a stick on the evening of December 31, 2018. This ignited the communal conflict at Nanduli, where homes of Chokosis were torched by irate Konkomba attackers. It is alleged that some Konkombas migrated from Saboba district to torch communities, which saw reprisal attacks from the Chokosis. A dozen lives have been lost, with total of 17 communities of both Konkomba and Chokosi tribes torched. Residents of these districts, mostly women and children, fled to neighboring Bimbila, Gushegu, with some crossing the border to Togo. With relative calm currently being enjoyed in the two districts, the youth associations are urging all to give peace a chance.
Konkombas on both sides of the conflict to, as a matter of agency, to have confidence in the atmosphere of peace that the government is trying to promote, and also to lay down their arms and calm down. We are therefore using this medium to appeal to everybody, Anufos and Konkombas, to bury their differences, because we are one people with a common destiny.
They also commended the Northern Regional Security Council for the maturity exhibited. Chairman of the Northern Regional Security Council, Salifu Said, lauded the leadership of the two ethnic groups in their quest to foster peace.
Statistics indicate that 1 out of 50,000 children are born conjoined, of which fewer than 1,500 survive after their first birthday. 19 years ago, a set of conjoined twins was successfully separated at the Kolibu Teaching Hospital. Reporter Sarah Paku traced Lydia and Linda to Samanya in the Yellow Krobo district of the Eastern region.
The birth of Linda and Lydia as conjoined twins at the Itua Government Hospital at Odumasi Krobo in March 1999 made headlines. They had to be transferred to the Kolibu Teaching Hospital until their separation in a 4-hour surgery on May 19, 1999 by an 8-member team of doctors, anesthetists and nurses led by Dr. W.M. Hodasi, a consultant surgeon. Biological parents of the twins, Mr. and Mrs. Awi, shared the challenges and fears they encountered.
The
I know twins come in two, but mine was joined. In fact, I cried. The doctor said they will try to save one.
When the girls were delivered, two neighbors came to advise us that we either dash them to the government or ask the doctors to kill them.
Linda and Lydia, who are now in SSS 3, at the Akwemuman Senior High School at Atempoku are grateful to their parents for the sacrifices they have made.
The last time she said when they were sending us to the theater, they told her to come and choose one because one died. The one that she chooses, that's the one that will save their life. But since she knelt down, and she prayed to God that she want both of us alive. And here comes us. John Morrison adopted us from our childhood. She took us to SHS 1. Something happened and she asked Mommy and Daddy to come for us. Mommy have to go for loan to take her and Lydia to school. Then sometimes she even find it difficult to get money to pay them back.
Statistics indicate that one child in 50,000 is born conjoined. About 500 of such babies are known to have survived their first year, and fewer than a dozen are alive. Currently, cost of the surgery in Ghana ranges from 7,000 cedis, depending on the parts joined, though a number of surgeries on Siamese twins have been performed in the country after that of Lydia and Linda. The ones which were unsuccessful surpassed the success stories. Head pediatric surgeon and member of the surgical team 19 years ago, Dr. Apiedu Mensah explained why most of the babies die after separation.
Surgery itself is complex, but some of them may be such that their survival to withstand surgery becomes problematic. You need to find ways of keeping them alive till they can withstand the stress of surgeries. For example, if you have the two hearts joined, and you find out that if you are going to separate one, you may not be able to divide the heart into two, the separate parts. So you may end up having to give some part of the heart to one or more of the heart to one than the other, and therefore it's difficult to save both.
He said lack of neonatal ventilators impedes surgical care in the country.
In Ghana here, we are still improving our technology. I don't think I can say that we are at the stage where we could give the best technologically to our children. We still are on the way. I mean, a typical example would be if you have to put the child on a ventilator immediately after surgery, immediately after they are born. Really, in our center, even here, we don't really have neonatal ventilators to take good care of the children now. I know attempts are being made to get them, but we really are not there, even now.
The stigma attached to such babies born conjoined is another concern.
Blaming is very unfortunate and is very wrong. The minimum in terms of genetic disease, for example, is that half the genes come from the father and half from the mother. So if there's a problem with the genes, then the suppository could have come from the father or the mother. And if it's genetic, nobody creates genes. So even that, the fact that the genes came from me doesn't mean I'm to blame. And so we need to be very careful about that.
So, no matter the deformity you find on your newly born baby, there is hope for its survival. For TV3 News, Sarah Paku, Somanya.
Right, the end of a beautiful story there. We'll tell you more about that later on, but let's turn to some entertainment. And the VGMA is here again. The 20th edition is expected to get opened very soon. That's what we're told. A statement signed by the Public Relations Officer of Charterhouse, George Quay, asked interested stakeholders to pick forms from offices of Charterhouse Productions Limited, as well as from its partner radio and TV stations. Musicians and other music industry practitioners have been entreated to submit entries in the various categories from January 1 to December 31, 2018 for this year's edition of the awards. The VGMA seeks to recognize and celebrate hard work and dedication of players in the music industry. To the international front, where Gabon foiled an attempted military coup on Monday, killing 2 suspected plotters and capturing 7 others just hours after they took over state radio in a bid to end 50 years of rule by President Ali Bongo's family. Government spokesman Guy Bertrand Mapungo announced the death and arrest after soldiers briefly seized the radio station and broadcast a message saying, Bongo was no longer fit for office after suffering a stroke in Saudi Arabia in October. The quick failure of Monday's coup and the lack of widespread support suggest further efforts to overthrow Bongo are unlikely, analysts said, but the attempt alone shows a growing frustration with the government weakened by the president's secretive medical leave. On December 31, in one of his first television appearances since the stroke, Bongo, 59, slurred his speech and he appeared unable to move his right arm. It is unclear if he's able to walk. He has been in Morocco since November to continue treatment. In a radio message at 4:30 a.m. Yesterday, Lieutenant Kelly Wondo Obiang, who described himself as an officer in the Republican Guard, said Bongo's New Year's Eve address reinforced doubts about the president's ability to continue to carry out the responsibilities of his office. That's TV3 News. There is more news on 3news.com. Stay with us. We're back with more. Node in your head. It's a new morning, Tuesday morning, and I am sure that 2019 is starting fully today. Good morning. My name is Bright.
And I'm Johnny Hughes, and welcome. It's Tuesday, Senior Bright. Good to see you all over again.
Good to see you too.
Fresh
We're
day.
beginning, yes. This
day,
time, is there any other person who is at home?
Yeah, Dr. Nanama.
Oh.
I nearly said Ado.
Oh, okay.
They're planting for food and jobs.
But the rest are all working.
Yeah.
It's back to business now. I'm sure everyone is going to the office this morning, and I'm sure you're also going same. Wish you all the best as we fully begin 2019 today. And as usual, we're starting from now till 9 a.m. We'll be guiding you from wherever you are to your offices, and then we'll stay with you and let you relax, and then we'll leave you in the course of the morning. Good morning once again.
Good morning, good morning. We'll be talking about defilement, because there's a particular case of a young lady that would want to bring to your attention this morning. It's and I've particularly been worried about the culture of sex tapes that seems to be making the round these days. I don't know where it came from.
The young guys
started
becoming
it.
too enthusiastic.
Yes, but I think that we need to act very fast in terms of the law and in terms of educating the youngsters. And my fear is that you're getting the youth doing it. The younger generation may chance upon it on their parents' phones, on their, some other person's phones, on the internet, and think that, oh, it's okay to do that.
Right.
And they may just follow through. I don't know what our social protection standpoint is, but I am very worried, especially that at the beginning of this year, we're told that we've had about 4 or 5 of them come out already. It's worrying.
Maybe
where did the culture of
you're not
sex
getting
come from?
The publicity because the persons in there are not
exactly, they're not popular
stars,
or celebrities or whatever.
But the key thing, and I am thinking that the police would have to continue drumming that home, is that it is against the law to do it. Okay, you cannot even take your own engagement with any other person and think that the two of us have agreed,
right?
And so we are putting it out. It is still against the law, and I am hoping that, Johnny, the police will continue to drum. You see, what happens is that because those in it are not quote stars,
right?
You don't find a lot of people talking about it. Now, when you have stars in there, then the police will come in and say that, look, it is against the law, and you don't have to do it, and blah, 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 and then we'll back to it. The police should start letting those involved know that it is against the law to do it. It's against the
law for you to do
for me,
indecent exposure.
Yes, for me, that's the point.
And for me, I'm always saying, I'm saying also that, look, the culture, I don't know where it came from. I've been asking this question. I think that from a social protection standpoint, we have not done well in many different instances, particularly, and for me, our new Minister for Gender and Social Protection, I have not seen much of her, like I saw of the Nana Oyeleta, like I saw of Otiko Jaba. I've not seen much of our new minister.
In terms of trying to protect
yes, in terms of even speaking up about some of the most critical issues. And I've always said that, look, if you go out with 4 people who drink, and you don't drink, by the closure of your rolling with them about 4 or 5 days, they would have convinced you to take some mild alcohol of some sort. So our social protection policy is weak. and we must protect the young people. And I'm very worried about the culture of sex tapes. I don't know what you think about it, but it's really, 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 really alarming and sad.
Let's see how it goes about it. But Johnny, those guys, those soldiers in Gabon, what were they thinking?
Oh, they are jokers.
Want to this time when everyone is aiming at, no matter how bad the situation, democracy is the best form of dictatorship. And then
I think they wanted to prepare instant noodles. So yeah, so
they went to the
They went to protect. I mean, and surprisingly, just yesterday I was reading a couple of books. I was reading Honorable Yanker's book on 31st December. I was reading Micah J's book. I was reading Nana Konedu Ajima Rawlins's book. So yesterday I read a lot of books that refreshed my mind. Justice Crab's book, and he spoke about the tumultuous times in Ghana where people had revolutions and uprisings.
Well, on the minds of everyone.
And one thing struck true. Nearly everybody who came up tried to usurp the powers of a constitutionally elected government was killed.
Right.
Was killed, save for Mr. Rawlings and maybe a few others who were lucky and they didn't. Nearly everybody who came up, from the generals all the way to the NCOs, Tekpo, Jandu, everybody was killed. Once you attempted to do it, they would deal with you. So I don't know why anybody would have that thought to even think that this is what we want to do.
I have no qualms if the people of Gabon think that the man is stayed in power for his family, not him. His family stayed in power for 50 years.
Just like we had in Togo.
Yes, we want to remove him. I have no qualms about it. But I think that the right thing must be done. I mean, if it is about voting the man out, then find a way to campaign and get him out.
Right.
But in these times when we're all trying to get to this point of democracy, I think picking a gun and going out there to announce a coup d'etat is unfortunate. And if for a reason Ali Bongo is unable to rule, I think the constitution is clear on who next.
Exactly, his vice president takes over because he becomes incapacitated. And I would have thought that they would have done a similar thing to what happened to good old Mugabe in Zimbabwe, as opposed to picking up arms and wanting to. I don't buy that idea at all. I don't think.
I'm just praying that the other African countries, the soldiers are indeed have noticed what they have seen today, yesterday in Gabon, and won't dare dream about it.
But if you're a good soldier, and this was a lieutenant, so that's a trained officer.
It's a trained officer.
You're a trained officer, the least of the officer corps. And so you're supposed to have been formed in a certain way. To think that you can take off your commander-in-chief is actually, I don't know. Anyway, let's check out what's on the front pages of your dailies this morning. We start off with the Free Press. It's talking about 200 cars vanish under Mahama, sold for chicken feed to cronies. That's the Free Press.
We're still talking about these.
Yeah,
I thought the cars, we should be talking about whether they've been retrieved or not.
Well, I think that as a last count, Johnny Osei Kofi, the Deputy Chief of Staff, has said that some 641 of them were released. Okay, that was the list we got. So then it now behoves on the government to tell us that, look, a list of 641 were given to us or was given to us. Out of the 641, this is what we have found. This is what we can find.
The point.
And we have the security apparatus checking for it. I mean, if you come back and say it was sold or they vanished, what have you done?
It's a bit, for me, uncomfortable. I mean, the idea is that if indeed they were given to some individuals, have they left the country? Certainly they have not, and these cars can be tracked. Except we are told by the story that they can't be tracked. So I think
if the cars have chassis numbers, they have DVLA registration documents. You can easily trace them.
And for me, even if they were sold to people per the story, I think the suggestion is that they were sold to some government officials before they left office. That's the previous government. If they were sold to those officials, and per our rules, our laws, they were sold below appropriate prices. Well, we can go back and because the names are here
of persons who benefited from
exactly. The names are here.
But then I also thought that in 2015, President Mahama had issued a caveat that said that nobody, a state official, should buy their vehicles when they're leaving office. So they themselves, those who bought it, should have had the moral if you like, justification to say that, no, my president said we shouldn't buy it.
Yeah.
And so I don't believe in the theory where people believe that, oh, once I get into office, they give me a 4x4 I use around, but my saloon car I keep there for 4 years or 5 years. When I'm leaving, then I apply to buy it. So it's still brand new, but in the books it's 4 or 5 years old, and then I get to buy it. That's not good. You're cheating the nation, literally.
The names are here, and I think that if the Free Press has the list, I think the key thing is to give it to whichever government agency and then get these cars if they were sold.
Yeah.
Per the story, a Free Press is saying that some of them were sold below what the Free Press thinks is appropriate. I think we can get them.
So do the analysis again. Yeah. I mean, let them do the valuation. The Ghanaian Times says, at the maiden Constitution Day lecture, make Constitution functional to promote effective performance of constitutional bodies, Professor Bonzi Simpson, and Konkomba Chokosi's call for an end to deadly clashes. Please begin investigation into cop's suicide in Tema. He shot himself. What a wow. That's a constitutional day there. The Interior Minister, Lawyer Bruce Derry, Right Honorable Professor Aaron Michael Quay, Speaker of Parliament, President Kufuor, and Kojo Oppong Nkrumah, Minister for Information there. Lovely, what?
Well, great. But if what Professor Bonzi Simpson is suggesting, we have to make the constitution functional, get it to work to resolve issues. There are so many issues within the constitution that people are asking or calling for them to be reviewed. So let's pray and hope that someone will trigger that kind of review, and we'll see some of these things.
I like something that Lawyer A. Sankuma said, and good morning to you, Lawyer A. Sankuma. He said that we have all the laws in this country. Right. What is left is for us to implement the laws.
To get them implemented.
We have all the laws, whether they are on Ponzi schemes, whether they are on sanitation, whatever it is. We have everything. How do we implement it? That's the question. The Daily Graphic, Adisco Nandom heads hot for violation of GES procedure, illegal collection of fees. They are hot. And let MPs remain legislators. Professor Bonzi Simpson said so. If so, then don't give them the MPs common fund.
And that's one key thing.
What are they going to use it for?
Johnny, that's one key thing that we'll have to go back to the Constitution and review it, because per the Constitution, the President shall appoint about 50% of his ministers.
Absolutely,
from Parliament.
From Parliament.
So the President's hands are tied. And so you have MPs who are ministers and...
The oversight responsibility that even the MPs are supposed to have.
So that's one key thing we'll have to take a look at if we really want to.
But I have been asking a question. You say the MPs are just agents of change. They are not supposed to be doing the change.
Well, that's what we're
not
told.
Constructing roads or schools or whatever it is. And then you give them MPs common fund. To do what? Why don't you add that money to the district assembly's common fund? Why? Anyway, encroachers disrupt Accra Tema rail service. You remember that the railway guys promised some 2 weeks of free ride.
Yeah,
it's been disrupted because the people are there. Look, we were just talking about this yesterday, weren't we?
Yeah.
The people are there on the streets. They are there. And as for this one, I will give the AMA thumbs up, because the AMA moved in to clear the place. What was left was for the railway guys to step in there and take over, because it's your property. The AMA cannot continue using its money to clear the people there when the property doesn't belong to them, it belongs to you. So do your work. Daily Guide. Editorial changes at DGN. Then A.R. Gomda, their long-standing editor. How Cocoa Board clash landed at Heritage Bank. The inside story. Well, it comes with a picture of the governor of the Bank of Ghana. GHS, boss fires Hanabisu over drones naked pictures. Remember Hanabisu said that? Told some people
were going to take photographs of
the
women who were taking their bath.
Yeah, because the bathrooms were what?
Were open.
Cover my defenseless head.
Our rural bathrooms are four-walled structure with no...
Who brought that idea?
Well, we were kids, we were bad kids. We used to try and spy on people.
You go and peep. Scramble for new regional capital begins, but the Minister for Regional Reorganization and Development says he will not heed to the call of lobbyists who are out there. Finally, the Finder newspaper this morning says, encroachers scuttle Tema Accra rail service. Minister directs 2-week special exercise to clear them. They better do. I remember again, the AMA cleared them, especially the Nkrumah Circle and the Accra Railway side. What happened? Why did we leave them there? That's the point. The law is clear on what distance we should leave between the rail and the next, what do you call it, settlement. Why have we not, again, we come back to the laws we're talking about. Yeah, the laws are there. Who will implement the laws? And finally, Unipass to be fully deployed within 25 months. Former UT Capital Bank staff still unpaid. This should be difficult for them.
Why?
It should be difficult for them. And Kamaria too needs financial assistance. Okay, we'll take a break now. When we return, there's more here on TV3 Newday. We'll be telling you 2 years after the government of President Akufo-Addo. Yesterday was 2 years. What are your own assessments and what have we put together for you after the break? Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Thanks for staying there. Now, the newspapers are ready. I'm sure you've seen the front pages. A Daily Guide talks about Heritage Bank and how Cocoa Board cash landed at that bank. The finder stays with the rail network in Accra, encroaches Scuttle Tema Accra rail service. And other stories captured by the finder includes the fact that former UT Capital Bank staff remain unpaid. The Adisco Nandom heads halt. That's how Daily Graphic puts the story. We're told for violation of GES procedures, illegal collection of fees, and then the Constitutional Day lecture. Professor Bonzi Simpson, the rector of GIMPA, delivered that lecture. Daily Graphic has the story. My guest to do the talking this morning, the Member of Parliament for Kwadaso, a member of the NPP, Dr. Samuel Kwejo Nyama, is here with me. Good morning.
Good morning.
And hope you're doing great.
Fantastic.
Thanks for joining us. I'm also expecting the Member of Parliament for the North Tongue constituency, Samuel Okujoa-Blakwa, to join us in the course of the conversation. But let's start our conversation with, let me take a look at the Ghanaian Times this morning. Some issues that have to do with the Constitution, and then the story captured by the Times says, make Constitution functional to promote effective performance of constitutional bodies. Daily Graphic put the same story, let MPs remain legislators, Professor Bonzi Simpson. The Ghanaian Times story on page 16 says that the rector of the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration, Professor Philip Ebo Bonzi Simpson, has made a case for government to bring finality to the constitutional review process, which was started in 2010. This, according to him, would make the Constitution a functional document to promote constitutionalism and not a mere document. Now, he was delivering the maiden Constitution Day public lecture in Accra. He said the Constitution in its current state did not promote effective performance of constitutional bodies in the country. We need a fully functional constitution and not a mere constitution. We have done well, but there is more room for improvement. That's the professor talking there. He says that it is also set aside, that is the day, to acknowledge the country's collective efforts at ensuring that tenets of the democracy, the rule of law, and principles of constitutionalism were upheld. 7th January, Constitution Day. That was the lecture delivered by Professor Ebo Bonzi Simpson. Let's start our conversation this way. The day itself, January 7, now Constitution Day. What do you make of the day, looking at some of the arguments that have been thrown out by proponents and those who think that it is not necessary?
Right, let me greet you once again.
Right.
And let me wish you a happy New Year. Today is the first time I'm meeting you, even though I've been here a couple of times. And let me once again extend warm greetings to my constituent. I'm
the
here,
people of Kwadaso.
The people of Kwadaso. I'm here just because of them. Without them, I wouldn't get a chance to be in Parliament. So I'm always humbled by what they've done for me, my family, my party executives, and all of them. Happy New Year to all of them, and to Ghanaians in general. Right. Ghana as a nation has come a long way, and it's time we appreciate how far we've come. Sometimes when your condition changes, you fail to appreciate the importance or the benefit that we're enjoying now. That's how we are as human beings. We get so comfortable so easily. And what is happening in Gabon now, so actually send some signals to us that Ghanaians, we are blessed, we've come a long way, let's come together and appreciate that. So when I heard the creation of this new holiday, I was thinking, fantastic, this is the right way to go. I doubt if there's any individual in this country who would support any attempt of a coup d'etat in this country. That is how far we've come. Psychologically, we are prepared not to accept anything like that. Physically, financially, I doubt if there's any individual, regardless of how bad a government would be. I think we would always prefer a democratically elected government to a military government. So this Newday should be able to sell that story, tell the story in a way that Ghanaians will appreciate the significance of how far we've come. I've heard argument from different sides saying that what about if one day the whole Fourth Republic is overthrown again? What happens? Are we going to create
another day?
Another day? But why do you have to anticipate? have to create this negative thought, where we are in the country at the point where we are confident that yes, we've come a long way. This democracy has been tested in several ways, and I doubt. So I think that we should appreciate the day. We should celebrate the day. But however, I support what the rector was saying.
Right.
That it shouldn't be just a mere holiday, a mere Constitution Day. I think that the Constitution that was created is a working document. We should keep reviewing it. We should keep working on it to meet the aspirations of the people at any particular time. Because what might be true in 1992 might not be true now. But if it's captured in 1992 and it's still working now, then what? It's not doing justice to the people now. So we should use this particular day to always review the Constitution so that it will make it relevant at the time, it will make it stronger, and it will make it protect what we are all trying to protect, that is our democracy. So I support the day, but again, we should make it a working document. We should make it
review the Constitution
significant.
And let it
so
reflect.
that particular day, we should always allow people to submit their suggestions, reviews, so that it can be considered by a team. And then I think that together we can make this country forward.
One of the issues he raised is to try and stop MPs from becoming ministers too. We'll come to talk about that, but let me introduce my second guest. Early on had said that the Member of Parliament for North Tone is the one joining us, but I have a Member of Parliament for the Tamale North constituency, a member of the NDC, Honorable Al-Hassan Tuyini. Good morning. Happy New Year.
Many happy returns. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. And we have started a conversation. The 7th January Constitution Day holiday and its significance. What are your thoughts about it?
Well, first of all, let me thank you for the opportunity to be here, and good morning to my brother, and good morning to our viewers. Very, very happy and prosperous New Year to everyone out there. I am, first of all, with those who are of the opinion that we have too many holidays in this country. Apart from the holidays being too many, I also think that the frequency of the holidays should be a matter of concern to all those who care about productivity. For example, if you look at this 7th January holiday, there will come a time, if you follow the calendar very well, where you may have Ghanaians maybe working 3 days in 2 weeks. For example, if you have 1st January on a Saturday, you are going to have 3rd January being a holiday.
Which is the next Monday.
Which is the next Monday. And then you will have only about Tuesday and Wednesday or Thursday to work. And remember, you would have been coming from the Christmas holidays. So apart from the number of holidays being too many, sometimes in fixing the holidays, we must also be mindful of the frequency of it. Because it all goes to, have an impact on the production of, the productivity of our people generally. And so I agree that we have too many holidays and the frequency is an issue. But then when you look at the reason behind the declaration of 7th January as a holiday, I think it is petty. It is something that I think we can do without. I mean, it is not an issue that we have to split our heads about. We have a Republic Day. Now, why do we equate Republic to Constitution? Why is it necessary for us to do that? There was a process that as a country we went through to gain independence. The first was the independence granted to us in 1957, where the government was still formed at the behest of the Queen. Even though we had independence, the majority party in Parliament, the leader of that majority party in Parliament was then invited by the Queen to form a government, and that government served or worked in the name of the Queen. All of that ended when we had our republic in 1960. That is remarkable. So it is not, the 1961st July is not just about the first constitution, but it is about a departure from our government working in the name of the Queen to our government working in the name of the people of Ghana. That is significant, more significant than, just linking it to the existence of a constitution or otherwise. So, for example, when you say the 1960 constitution was eventually overthrown, and so the one that has stood the test of time is the 4th Republican Constitution, so therefore it is the one that deserves to be celebrated, you are saying that that departure from the government working in the name of the Queen to the government now working in the name of the people doesn't really matter.
It doesn't remind us of that the journey of military rule and the departure. It doesn't remind us the 1992 Constitution.
The 1992 Constitution, thank God, has survived many elections.
30 years and more.
God forbid, God forbid, God forbid. But there is no indication that it will also not be tampered with sometime in the future. What can never be tampered with again, which I am very certain about, is the Queen ruling us. That is a milestone.
We cannot be colonized again?
I don't think that Ghana can be colonized again. But we may still have adventurers. God forbid. May it not happen. But if we are talking about a 4th time that it happened, then it has the possibility of happening as compared to being colonized. We have been colonized once. Our constitution has been overthrown 4 times. So if you are talking about what is most likely to happen, it is the truncation of the constitution that is more likely to happen. So the 1961st July marked a complete departure from a situation where our apron strings were tied to the British, to the crown. If we think that doesn't matter, then I wonder, how, honestly, I think it is all about this revisionist movement of the president, which sometimes makes one wonder if the aim is just to leave a name in the history books, whether meaningful or otherwise. Some of the things that are being revised are simply needless. They were not promised the people of Ghana. I'm sure if they were part of the manifesto, people would have had a better appreciation of what they were voting for. But you find the president leading the revision of names of buildings, of institutions, of days, of what is more important. And I agree with the lecturer, even as I disagree with the day and the need to celebrate it, that we had a process of reviewing our constitution. That process must be concluded. The 1992 Constitution Review Report is gathering dust. A number of issues were raised and considered and, proposals made. As a government, let us look at how we can, take advantage of that review to strengthen the constitution further so that our democracy will be insulated from, adventurers. Because when people have problems with the constitution as it is being implemented, that is when they get the appetite to perhaps try something unreasonable. But if we revise it and possibly iron out some of the grievances that people may have, then you will be strengthening the constitution. Instead of just declaring a day as a holiday, contributing to low productivity and achieving nothing from it.
Dr. Nyama, I saw you shook your head when about the fact that the 1st July and 7th January.
Senior Bright, I think we are confusing two things here. Celebrating 1st July and 7th July are not mutually exclusive. Celebration. What we are talking about here is holidays.
Okay, 1st July is no more holiday now.
It's no, but we're still going to celebrate it. We should get that point clear. Whatever we need to do to celebrate, to create awareness. Yes, that at a point in time, Ghanaians, yes, we had our own republic and all that. It would be
doesn't
properly
reduce its significance
at all when you compare that to 7th January. My brother here was talking about, yes, God forbid when in future something happens. When we get there, we'll cross it.
We'll have another day for a new constitution.
Why do we live in this country. Let's be fair to Ghanaians and to fair to our cherished viewers. As I made a point earlier, that I doubt if there's any single Ghanaian in this country who would support or advocate for Emily True. We should accept the fact. So we come to a point where we are so confident about how far we've come, so confident about this democracy, and we have to safeguard it. We have to totally, as a country, celebrate it and then try to make it a point that this is how far we've come, so let's together appreciate it. So I think that we shouldn't doubt the significance, and we shouldn't also doubt the significance of 1st July. That's what I'm saying, that it's probably captured, that the day of 1st July will continuously be celebrated. However, when it comes to holidays, I, as a Ghanaian, and I, as someone who was born in 1977, would forever choose 7th January as a holiday over, and in any case, every 4 years, 7th January is an election day. Even though it's not a holiday, but
it's not an election day. We swear in a precedent.
We swear in, sorry. 7th December is, 7th January is the swearing in of the president. It's not a holiday. But you and I can attest to the fact that all business activities are distracted on that particular day. So if on the day that we are swearing the president, Ghanaians are glued to their TV set and we are saying that let's celebrate this day, what is so wrong with it? But obviously, that is the essence of democracy. We share ideas. We try to always compare notes and see how best. So I also understand the point that my brother just made, but clearly, when you look at the facts on the ground, when you look at the significance of those two events,
you think 7th outweighs 1st?
Totally, as a Ghanaian.
All right.
It's not. I wouldn't say that it's a matter of what weighs what, but we're looking at the timing. I would say that looking at how far we've come with this fourth republic, democracy, we should celebrate this particular day.
Right.
Okay. Just a few seconds and then we'll move on.
This is like, sometimes I like to make things very simple. I look at this as from where I come from, we have a birthday, you have the outdooring day, and maybe in between, you have a day in your life where perhaps you hit a jackpot. So your birthday is 1957, Safe March. That's when you were born. Maybe a week later, like we do outdooring, you are outdoored. And then later in your life, you hit a jackpot. That is the Fourth Republic. And then you think that your birthday is okay. Your outdooring day really doesn't matter. But maybe you have hit a jackpot in your life somewhere, and that should be celebrated. And I'm saying that, look, the First Republic, I've heard the argument that says the first July that constitution was overthrown. And I'm saying that the significance of 1st July 1960 has much more to do than just a constitution. It was about the completeness of our independence.
Total independence.
Total independence. That completeness of our independence was marked on 1st July 1960. And that is more significant than the trials, the democratic trials we have had, along the line. And we may continue to have. Those challenges have come and gone. Thankfully, we have had the Fourth Republic that is enduring, and we are all hoping it endures forever. But I'm saying that we will never have to go through the process of seeking independence the way we completed it on 1st July. So that is more significant. But, right, we can forgive the president. It is something that he has worked for a very long time.
Commend the president.
We can forgive him. It is something he has worked for a very long time. 7th July. I mean, I'm sure he admired a lot of presidents before him who took the oath, to be president and worked so hard to become president. He's happy that he finally fulfilled that childhood dream on 7th January. Unfortunately, on the big day, he came, with a script that was stolen. But we can still mark that day, right. But I am saying that as a minority, we think it's needless. I think it's needless.
Right. Let's move on. The statement this morning says Amidu is under pressure. Some Ghanaians are mounting pressure on Mr. Amidu, the special prosecutor, to initiate swift action against public officials who are alleged to have misappropriated or mismanaged public resources. A group of 13 people have expressed the need for swift action in the petition they have sent to the special prosecutor. And they mentioned some names in here. The chief executive of Ghana National Gas Company, chief executive of the Free Zones Board, chief executive of the of Maslock, Bost, several of them mentioned here. They think that some swift action needs to be taken on these persons. Dr. Nyama, the fight against corruption, some 13 persons are suggesting that the special prosecutor has been too slow and government will need to work fast at getting people who have been named in corrupt deals, taking them to court.
I would say that the Honorable Martin Amidu, he wasn't oblivious of the tax that he took upon himself. I'm sure his caliber and what he was engaged in the past, during the past administration, clearly you could tell that he was carved for that particular job. So I have all hope and confidence in him that he will deliver. However, when it comes to issue of persecution, when it comes to issue of legal matters, we all know how sometimes it can grind slowly. It takes some time, the resources. It's a new sector that has been created. So obviously things won't run as smoothly as we're all looking forward that it should be. However, I think with the right resources, right team, we should be able to go deep into some of the things that it is perceived to have happened in the past, and not only in the past, even presently, so that we can have confidence in our system. And a lot depends on how he operates. He belongs to the opposing party, working in the governing party. So he has to be careful how he carries out his activities, because all eyes are on him. Clearly, he may have friends on both sides. So again, there may be pressure on him. He's a human being. But the man that I've come to know as Martin Amidu is very credible. He's very straight. So I think that what we need now is to encourage him, give him the needed resources. And I'm sure he should be able to.
So you think Ghanaians are, what are you asking for? Demanding too much? Asking
No. I have,
for prosecution?
I have made similar comments elsewhere that yes, we need to see something.
We're slowing down. Is it a matter of the fact that we shouted corruption when we didn't have evidence?
There's two ways. There's perception out there. See, sometimes when you get closer, there's nothing there. We've seen it in the past.
So it is possible.
Why not? We were here when people say that, yes, Kufuor's government had stolen all the gold reserves in the country. And then the same person during vetting said that, no, that wasn't true. You understand? So people say so many things during campaigns, but when you get to reality, you need to take your time because you need to have the facts right. But when you're doing politics or when you're doing a campaign, you can say things without any facts supporting it. But then there's so many of these that have been said around. People have come out with suggestions and facts to support that, yes, so and so have indulged in corruption. But then it's not just by saying it. We need to go deep into it and investigate. But the man himself, somewhere last year, made certain comments that he's not properly resourced. But when you look at the budget that was tabled last year, 2019 budget, I think he's been given a lot that we should be hopeful that by the end of this year, we should see some action from him. Now he's quiet. When the man is quiet, you know something is right. You know something is, at least, he's now okay, because the man that I know, when it's not okay, he will talk. Having been quiet for the past 6 months or so means that he's been getting whatever he's been asking for. So now if you are getting whatever you've been asking for, then we have every right to also ask you what we task you to do. So yes, he's a lawyer of great repute. He has served. He was one time the Mahama of the previous administration, because he was the vice presidential candidate. So if they had won, he would have been the John Mahama of the time. I'm sure you get my point. So we can't doubt his integrity. We can't doubt his intelligence. We just need to, as you said,
wait
and keep putting some pressure on him, that we are all waiting. Clearly, if by the end of this year nothing is done, then all of us will be worried. Why? What's happening? But I'm hopeful that something will be done by the end.
Alhaji, are you also hopeful that we will see some prosecutions in 2019?
Well, Brad, it's not about being hopeful or not. It's about how we are, almost making a very important office or tool in the fight against corruption seem very petty and partisan and just used for entertainment. You see, the office of special prosecutor, for me, is a very, very crucial office. And it needs all the support that it can get if a nation wants to win the fight against corruption. Many other countries, have very good examples of how such offices have helped in the fight against corruption. But we in Ghana seem to have started on a faulty note. The whole institution was set up, with a certain mindset that has made it almost impossible to function effectively. So you will notice that every now and then, when the sitting government is, under some sort of political pressure, its apparatchiks will come up with a certain petition that has been forwarded to Martin Amidu, and then its newspapers and radio, platforms will pick it up and chew on it for a day or two to ease the pressure, and nothing happens. So the office has become like a play tool. So the petition is sent, a splash all over the newspapers, an impression is created as if something is happening or is going to happen, and nothing happens. So over time, you are going to have a very important institution like the OSP, becoming a toothless bulldog. I mean, not feared, not respected, and it's not just going to be because of its inability to even function, but it's going to be how we have used it politically and in our gallery play. That's why, in my language, they say that when a lion is fond of patronizing the marketplace, it is soon treated as a puppy. So if we are fond of using that institution to play our politics, we will soon reduce its significance.
You think the petitioners are playing politics with the petition?
That's what I'm saying. And this is not the first time. Anytime there is some kind of political pressure, you find this happening. Some group of apparatchiks of the sitting government will come up with a petition. Whether the petition even gets to the OSP or not, we don't know. But what we are certain is that it will find space on the front page of the, sitting government's favored newspapers. Then makes the headline, creates an impression, and you don't seem to get it. And I don't blame them that much. I think the occupant of the office, Mr. Martin Amidu, also for some time, maybe unconsciously, allowed himself to be used to play that political football. I haven't really heard from him recently. And I am hoping that he is rebranding and he is trying to maybe focus appropriately. But initially, his focus was wrong. And it was all over the place. And it was clear that he was driven by a certain vendetta, that for me, was going to cloud his judgment and his appreciation of how he was being used. But maybe now that he's quiet, I hope that he is, beginning to find his bearing. And I hope that he uses the office. And, I think he should send a message to people who have been using the office in the way that they do just for their propaganda, that he will not tolerate that. I mean, what is the essence? What is the gain in sending a petition and then putting it in the newspapers? What is it to achieve? What is it to achieve?
Okay.
If it is not just for propaganda purposes.
Okay. And yesterday marked exactly 2 years that this government was sworn into office. And we're taking a look at what has happened in the past 2 years. The Deputy Minister of Education has hinted that the nation's economy will see a massive improvement 2019. According to him, government had put in place prudent and strategic measures to improve the nation's finances and also to restructure the banking sector. He explained that with the current state of affairs, there was no way the economy could not develop at the fast rate, adding that would, in the long run, improve the standard of living of the people. So 2 years on, that's the story. We're told that it's been, the platform has been created, time for us to develop. Honorable Nyama, let me start the conversation with you. 2 years. Where are we?
I think with this one, my good friend will have started.
Oh, your party is in government, so you tell me where we are now. He is in opposition. He will tell me from where he sits.
What I can see from my
perfect. You see, as I said earlier, when it comes to politics, even when it's, because it has been said by a leading politician from the other side, then when you see something black, say it's white. You understand? So clearly, I won't be surprised if that's why I was asking if you could start. So that I will try to change all the blacks to white.
You go on. Go ahead. You go ahead.
When you see black, say white.
But then clearly, Snare Bright, the facts are clear on the ground. that this government has done what no other government has done, in my view, in this the fourth republic that we are all enjoying. Why do I say so? Usually when a new party takes over, the argument has been that, oh, I didn't know the situation, I didn't know the depth of the mess. But since I came, I realized that no, it's too deep and I can't do what I promised, I need some time. That has been, if you look at the government that has come time and time again, they always give this excuse to give themselves time to be able to settle down properly and to be able to start putting together their thoughts and their policies. But this government, right, in the first year of coming to power, didn't try to hide behind what the situation that he came to inherit, because clearly the situation was a total mess. But whilst he was trying to solve the situation, trying to redirect all the indicators from negative direction to a positive direction, he started implementing right from the beginning his policies that he laid out during the campaign and which was captured in the manifesto. Right from the beginning. This has never happened in the history of this country, that the government has come and right in the first year started implementing. And some of us were saying, now listen, why don't we take our time to correct the mess? And the mess was clear. Debt to GDP skyrocketing, everything was just out of place. So we need some time to put things in order. But the president came to Parliament and the statement was clear that no, I'm in a hurry. I have only 4 years. I can't wait. So we need to put our feet together. We need to be focused and do all at the same time. And if you look at the things that he promised us, so far, about 90% of those policies have been initiated, unprecedented. We've had government who made certain promises, key promises, like the one-time premium, all those things. And 8 years in governance, they never even tried to implement those things. But this government, everything that he mentioned, at least has been started. 2 years. That's never happened in this country. So I would say that if we have to support this government to be in place for a longer period, this country will see a clear difference between the previous government and this government. People are enjoying free education at the secondary level. Unprecedented. I've had arguments that, oh, whatever you ask an MPP man, he will tell you about free education. That's not true. That is for the education sector. If you look at even the police service, have new cars in, have ambulances on their way coming at the health sector. You have NHIS being revamped. In the past, people were owing, the businesses, pharmacists, the hospitals were all complaining that long delays in payment. So every area, I've also had issues about people talking about this government not paying contractors. Yes, you incur debt. You told Ghanaians that you're constructing roads and all those things, but not paying these contractors for about 2-3 years. And we came and you were putting pressure on us to suddenly pay, do some magic and pay debt that you've incurred. Why didn't you pay that? But this government is saying that he's not going to leave anyone behind. He's not going to say that, yes, I didn't do that, so I won't solve it. So again, contractors have started getting their money, and we need to clear that out of the way to be able to start proper development or proper construction in this country. So looking at what happened last year, looking at the budget that was laid in Parliament for 2019, we are on a proper footing to be able to project ourselves in a proper trajectory. And I'm confident that by the end of this year, apart from the economy booming, apart from the economy being more solid, well-focused, we're going to see proper infrastructure, like roads. Right, when it comes to my constituency, Quada's constituency, we've never had asphalt in any part of the constituency for the past 8 years that the other party were in government. We never experienced it. We came, we're still calling for that. and not only my constituency, in the larger Kumasi metropolis. But I can assure you that now, first quarter of this year, we're going to see proper road construction in the constituency. So for me, I can attest to the fact that yes, we're going to see that. Again, we've had certain development in regards to sanitation. We have 3 toilets, 3 boreholes. Again, we're having some classroom blocks all being constructed just within these 2 years. So I am totally confident and I'm satisfied the work that this government has done so far. Obviously, it's a human institution.
All right.
But then you'll see that people will try to throw things out of place, blow things out of proportion for any little defect that would come as a result of being human. But if we look at the totality of our performance, totality of how far we've come vis-a-vis the economy, the construction, development, everything, I think that this government is in the right footing and needs to be supported.
I'm grateful. Alhaji Sini.
Right, I'm going to start on a lighter note and perhaps build into more fundamental issues. I think in the last 2 years, I have seen the president at more parties and weddings than I've seen him in boardrooms. Again, in the last 2 years, I have noticed that the president actually looks younger than he looked before he assumed the presidency. In fact, that is significant because all occupants of that office seem to age very fast once they occupy it. He seems to be looking very young, you know, and that's significant. I don't know if it has to do with where he spends his time the most, you know. But again, he started with a promise to stop stealing with a stolen speech. And that, for me, perhaps is the reason why, apart from appointing the highest number of people we have ever had under the 4th Republican Constitution, being appointed by a president, he is always in a haste to clear his appointees even before investigations into alleged wrongdoing is concluded. Maybe the starting point was the problem, where you promised to stop stealing in a speech that has been stolen. You can just imagine what that promise will amount to. But, right, the pain doesn't even have to do...
But I think you should correct him when you talk about speech that has been stolen. I think we should make a point.
Speech. It was a stolen speech.
Well,
because plagiarism is stealing.
If you allow some of these comments,
plagiarism, you are a scholar.
No, but
plagiarism
I'm just saying that it should be in context. You see, when you
plagiarism
talk about,
is
because stealing. When I say that the boy is going to school and tomorrow you talk about the boy is going to school, that doesn't mean you've stolen my speech.
You know better than that. But let's
no, but I'm just saying. So he needs to be corrected so that together we can make sure we are.
Right. So you think it was not stolen? It was
in the last 2 years. In the last 2 years,
I'll get a chance to.
Yeah. In the last 2 years, I don't think that Ghanaians have even felt so much pain as a result of the failure of this government compared to the deception, the pain that they get from the deception and the dishonesty that is around the communication. And you were just listening to Doc talk about unprecedented and never seen before kind of developments. And you are looking around your communities, you are looking around your neighborhood, and you are wondering which development is being referred to. In fact, it is on record that this is the government which for about 2 years in most sectors have not even contributed a penny to capital expenditure in most institutions. Capex is zero in most institutions. And so when they talk about the developments, like the contractors, he mentioned contractors.
He said you didn't pay them.
Well, what you notice the shift. First, they said they were artist impression. They said we did not do any projects. And then they shift to try to own those projects. The president tries to commission them as his own. And when he's exposed, then it shifts to you haven't paid them. I mean, so that's what I'm talking about. The dishonesty is more annoying than even the failure of the government to deliver. The dishonesty about issues. Look, we're told contractors have all been paid. I mean, some millions of CDs were talked about by the finance minister, later by the president, how much had been released to pay contractors. These are contractors who went to a bank to take loans at very, high interest rates that we are all not comfortable with as a country. Did government projects, not their projects, expecting to be paid. Now, in the words of Kwesi Nyantakyi, because they did those projects under NDC, their money will rot. And true to that prediction, they are now being told to go to Fidelity Bank to discount these, certificates that they have so that they can now be paid. Look, the money was already taken at an interest. And over 3 years, you have refused to pay them deliberately. And as a result, it has even led to some banks and financial institutions suffering because they took those loans from these financial institutions to execute government contracts. You have refused to pay, and you are punishing those banks for being indebted to those banks. You are indebted to me, and that makes me financially weak, and then you punish me on top of that. And that's why Dr. Ndum is screaming. He's saying, if you paid your debt, I will not be in the situation that I am in now. Then he also went into the area that's the banking sector. That's what I'm saying. It hurts.
Quickly, we're wrapping up.
Yes, it hurts. Again, the dishonesty there. First, we're told no job losses will occur. We're told depositors' funds will be protected. We're told all kinds of pleasant things that were going to be maintained. As we speak, families are suffering because they did not prepare for the job losses that hits them.
But the government say you created that. Your government created that.
You see, there is indeed a need for us to have intervened in the banking sector to correct things. Nigeria did it. But I'm saying, and I've said it on many platforms, that nobody can blame the previous government for what happened in the banking sector. It has been a period of mismanagement over the years. And all governments have contributed to it some way, somehow. When you talk about the institution, the ability of the institutions, the regulators. But I'm saying we did. We use a different method. That was, for example, the injection of capital, which the board directors mismanaged. So there is no one solution to a problem. The fact that they are using this solution does not mean it is the best solution. If we're in office, like we attempted to give them capital, which they mismanaged, maybe our next approach would have been different. Maybe it would have been the Nigerian approach, where jobs are not lost, where bonds, papers are not given to a bank when the bank doesn't have really the money, the liquidity to attend to
Unfortunately, we have to wrap it. Dr. Nyoma was not too happy about the plagiarizing issue.
Plagiarism is stealing, academic stealing. That's what it is.
Right.
Not quickly.
He keeps talking about stolen speech. You understand? I did my thesis. You have every right to be able to quote someone.
But you have to credit the person. You know that.
Of course.
Yeah.
But in a speech form, sometimes it's difficult to
credit the person.
No, I'm saying that when you are talking, but when you're writing, like a thesis, fantastic. But when you are presenting, you understand? I don't know if you've seen someone presenting and then mentioning people's name. It's not always the case, of course. But if it's a thesis, because if you look at president of president in the States, you could tell that yes, their phrases that sometimes they pick from, but they don't even talk about mention their names.
They do.
But I'm just saying,
it is necessary,
we need to commend this government for how far they've come so far. I think that, as I mentioned earlier on, and looking at the banking sector, what they are doing.
I'm sure. Dr.
Formalization.
Unfortunately, I have to wrap it. I'm sure this conversation, the 2 years conversation, will go on.
It has another time. It has
to talk about it. Dr. Samuel Kwejuniama is Member of Parliament for Kwadaso. Honorable Alhaji Suhini, Member of Parliament for Tamale North constituency. I'm grateful for your time this morning. Once again, Happy New Year. And we hope to see you more often in the course of the year. Stay with us. I will have more on the show. Welcome back to the show. The mission is brought to you Star Ghana, Ketsi, UKA, Danida, and the European Union. This morning, we're talking about a very important item in the life of young girls when they go into school, sanitary pads. Rural, unfortunate girls are unable to get it, and as a result of that, some of them are staying out of school. Stanley Blewu was in some part of the Pandai area. Watch this.
Loloto is about 2 hours drive from the district capital, Pandai. The Loloto Primary School serves more than 5 communities. Here, pupils struggle to attain education. Teenage female pupils, for instance, find it difficult to attend school when they are in their period. They cannot afford to buy sanitary pads. Poverty and single parenting is the bane for many pupils here. The girls prefect of the school and several others have taken to farming in order to support themselves. She owns 1 acre mixed crop farm, which she depends on to provide her educational needs.
This is what I do to be able to get money to buy pad and my books.
This has been a ritual since the last 3 years. An open forum organized by the mission team to discuss the issue was attended by majority of the female pupils. The team engaged them in the use of dialogic communication method. Those who have been overwhelmed by their situation expressed their frustration.
Because my mother is dead, my father takes care of me. He cannot buy everything for me because of that thing, if I want to come to school, I will not feel better. My sister is taking care of me, but she's not around. If she gets somebody and she will message me money to pay my school fees, if she couldn't get anybody, I will be sitting there.
Others corroborated their stories.
I cannot tell my father in everything because if it comes about period, I have to be sad. I cannot tell my...
All right, and those are stories of young girls struggling just to get sanitary pads before they could go to school. But an organization is coming to the aid of these young ones already. If you remember, they donated a canoe to that community because these pupils were struggling to go to school. My guests in the studio are from the Massive Cheerful Giving Network, a non-government organization, and it's spokesperson or public relations officer Lubena Mustafa is to my extreme left, and the founder of Massive Cheerful Giving Network, Frank Tulosi, is to my immediate left. Good morning, gentlemen and lady, and welcome.
Good morning.
First of all, that community had an issue with going to school transportation, and your network stepped in. A brief of that before we come to talk about the sanitary part, Frank.
Okay, I watched the news on Mission on TV3.
Right.
A community in the Volta region called Afrikope.
Right.
They have to swim and cross the lake before they get to school. So I quickly called my board and we had a meeting on that, how we can reach out to them. So I went to the village, I met the chief, the teachers, and I told them I'm from an organization called Massive Cheerful Giving Network. So we'll come together and then see what we can do best. So
and you did help them?
Yeah, we donated 2,000 exercise book and canoe and provisions for the teachers to motivate them.
To teach more. Now, the issue of sanitary pads is a crucial one for these young girls. Lubena, what did the organization see about this, that you intend to come in and help once again this community? Lubena.
Okay, I would like to say a very big thank you to viewers out there, and I wish everybody a happy new year.
Right.
The issue of sanitary pad is very, very alarming in the rural communities. Talking about this, you see majority of the students, female students, fail to stay home to not go to school because they don't have money to afford to buy a sanitary pad when they are in their menstrual period. And with this, we see it as a very big challenge to the female students.
As far as getting them to go to school is concerned.
Because if we want them to be educated, as we all talking about female education, the drawbacks comes with this problem of sanitary pad.
Right.
Because they don't feel the comfort, they don't have the courage and then the boldness to go to school when they are in their menstrual period. They feel like the colleagues will be laughing at them when they soil their backside. And it leads them to stay back to school. So looking at this, we thought of coming together and also working with the school management team to be able to identify students who are not able to afford sanitary pad so that we can extend hand to them.
That's what the organization is working at. Frank, let me come in. But you certainly would need to pool resources to get this done. What are you doing, and what appeal do you have as far as organizations, institutions who are watching are concerned?
Yeah, for now we start with proposal to the companies,
right?
So that they can come and
those
help.
In the area of manufacturing,
to come on board and help. And if individuals also are watching and you are attached, you can also come on board and support.
What has been the response to these proposals that you've been writing, soliciting for help for these young ones?
Yeah, on the AfriCopper project, we wrote a proposal more than 10, but God be the glory, Mr. Big Heights came on board to help, to support them with water and a 300 ml of poly tank.
Right.
So with the response, some will ignore, but some will also.
So your hope is that the new project on sanitary pads will also receive the same attention?
Yes, yes.
Lubena, now, apart from pooling resources to get these pads to these young ones, what is the organization doing as far as perhaps educating these young ones are concerned?
What we are seeking to do is to partner with stakeholders to be able to enhance the welfare of the students or the people in rural communities, to be able to provide them with quality education and also health-wise. And for society to make a change, we need to involve ourselves in charity works. We need to participate in whatever initiative are brought in on our board. So we are pleading for everybody to take concern on this kind of issue when it comes to board. And so, like, we just need the support of the general public.
Of the people,
yes,
to go in there.
To go in there.
So it's not as if Massive Cheerful Giving Network is only sitting in a crowd, but you're actually going down there to work with the people.
Yes, yes.
We've been to Zulezu. We've been to Zulezu. The following month, we've been to AfriCopper. And 25th December, we spent a time with mental health challenge people at Panther Hospital.
Now, the sanitary pad project, have you drawn timelines for it? When do you hope to gather the items and when it will be given to the people? Lubena?
Yes, we've drawn timelines and we are seeking to execute this project mid of February, that's next month.
Yeah. And get the pads to these young ones.
Yes, yeah.
I'm giving you the opportunity, we're wrapping up the conversation, but I'm giving you the opportunity to directly appeal to people to come in and support you on this project. Frank.
Happy New Year to the cherished viewers. We are from Massive Cheerful Giving Network, and we are embarked on an initiative that will help the young ones at Pandai. If you're out there and you're attached, you can call us on 024 5647 368. Thank you.
Okay, no, take your time and mention the line again so that those who are trying to write it down.
The number is 024 5647 368.
All right, 024 5647 368. Libena, let me then give you the phone.
You can also follow us on our IG massive underscore cheerful givers. And there is a place that will take you through where you can donate to the foundation.
Okay, go over that again. The Instagram
massive underscore cheerful givers.
Okay.
That is on IG, and Facebook is Massive Cheerful Giving Network.
Okay, I want you to go over it again. On Facebook?
Facebook is Massive Cheerful Giving Network. And then on IG is Massive underscore Cheerful Givers.
All right, and you can as well get to them here at TV3. If you can come in to our front desk, we'll get you to get in touch with Massive Cheerful Giving Network. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for coming.
Thank you for
Frank Tulasi is the founder of Massive Cheerful Giving Network, and Lubena Mustafa speaks for the organization. They're pleading, asking you to come support them, give to the people who are in need. Stay with us. There's more coming up on the show.
Welcome back. This is TV3 Newday. Let's talk chamber, some legal issues. Last week we had a conversation about rape and defilement and all the issues in between. This week we want to get in specifically and have a conversation one more time with lawyer Justice Abdullahi of the Crown Legal Bureau in Accra. We want to get into a detail because in 2017 something happened. A shocking story of a 13-year-old who was defiled by somebody who's supposed to be his grandfather. These are Yemenis who are living in Ghana. So clearly they are under the laws of the nation. Why don't we have justice for the young girl who was defiled in 2018? And in 2019, the story hasn't changed. My guest is Lawyer Abdullahi. Justice, welcome. Thank you very much for your time. Last week, the conversation was on a broader perspective. But this week, we want to delve deeper into the conversation. So you have a client, and I'm taking personal interest in this matter because of the age and the much talk I have about, an emotional connection with little girls about. What's the story?
Johnny, the story, as you rightly pointed out, occurred sometime in December 2017 when a young lady who was on her way to school was met her grandfather right by the roadside, driving, apparently visiting them, unknown to her. Well, the grandfather invited her to join her in the vehicle so he could drop her off in school. And that's exactly what happened. Nothing was heard of the two. Okay. The kid never got to the school. And then about a couple of hours later, a young girl returns home and completely disheveled, completely traumatized and damped, bruised and tattered all over her. I mean, occasionally, I think blood oozing from other parts of her body. Okay. She was dropped off somewhere by the roadside and she managed painfully to get to the house at West Legon. Okay. And upon arrival, the parents tried talking to her to find out exactly what had happened because it was unusual. She had returned home quite too early. Right. And she didn't look, in fact, she appeared to be if it was a guy, probably would say that he was coming from a football park and possibly injured or possibly an accident victim. Okay. And so they tried everything, but they got suspicious that something was wrong. So they called in the West Legon police, and they in turn came together with the Kwabinya police office to examine her. And then they concluded that indeed something untoward had happened. So they quickly rushed her to the police hospital right here close to Osu. And upon examination, I think you have the police report, the medical report.
Maybe we should show it on the television.
I think it would be very good. It was clear that she had been defiled, and having been so defiled, they tried everything to get her talk because she was still dumb and in shock. She couldn't utter a word. Until a few days later, then she gave these bits and pieces of the information that that her grandfather had done this to her. The way she tells the story, it appeared that she was even dragged and assaulted in the process. And as whether she was assaulted right after or soon before the sexual encounter with the grandfather was a bit questionable.
How is the young lady now? Is she better?
The young lady is currently at the hospital, still in trauma, and in Yemen. I think you also have the report of that as well. I gave it to your producers. Maybe if they could put it on air for everyone to see. And
we're working to drag it out. So we can.
And so she is still receiving treatment because and this was so bad to her because after after this incident, after a year on, she was taken to Yemen to sit, because of the medical advice that maybe the change of environment might help her recover quickly. And indeed, it helped. And so she even managed to.
Okay. That's one of the documents on your screen now.
Absolutely.
This is the report from Yemen?
No, this is rather one of the cases in court, in Kwabena court.
Okay.
Now, this is after this whole incident, the family, in fact, Omar, that's the man at the center of affairs, and together with his family, he brought in about 20 other Yemenis with all kinds of guns. And in fact, the police called some of them AK-47 automatic rifles and other things. And they were rather have been threatening to eliminate this family.
I want us to go before that. So the police stepped in, they did the
after
testing,
the medical test.
And then they confirmed that this lady had been defiled.
Absolutely.
At age 13.
At age 13.
By a man of what age?
That's also a questionable one. Now, his age, we only put his age at 60 years because this man has about 20 different passports with different ages, with different names. And so we really don't even know who Omar is.
Okay.
The only reason why we call him Omar is because that's the popular name in Ghana that everybody refers to him. Okay. But otherwise, if you check all these 20 other passports, copy of which you have them, you notice that each passport comes with a different name, with a different age. And so we just took the average that, okay, maybe he's 60 years.
60 years. So let's granted that it's 60. 60 against 14.
Against 13 at the time.
At the time. What did the police say? Was he processed for court? Did family decide to get in to solve the matter?
The saddest part is that the police didn't even do anything. Unfortunately, Kwabena police do not have a DOFC unit.
Okay.
And so the only other police with jurisdiction is Medina. That's the closest. And so the matter was reported to the Medina, and nothing happened to Umar. Nothing, absolutely nothing. And I think you have a picture of Umar.
When you say nothing, what exactly
no arrest, no investigation, absolutely nothing.
The police did nothing?
Absolute nothing. Until my client, one Hassan Zain, who is a businessman and a Ghanaian, he is not even related to this matter in any way. He was contacted by the family because the family was informed that he could help them seek justice. And so they approached him, and then he made some effort. And it was only after that that Omar was arrested. And guess what? Moments after his arrest, he was released. And please listen to me very carefully. I'm a lawyer. I'm not talking about bail. He was released. He was not bailed. Now, the reason, the difference between these two words are that if you are released, you are literally let go.
There are no conditions.
Nothing, no condition. But if you are admitted to bail, there are legal conditions that ought to be fulfilled.
Right.
Now, if you don't fulfill those legal conditions, and none of those legal conditions were fulfilled. So if you do not fulfill those legal conditions and you allow the person to literally walk out of the police office, you have literally released that person.
Do you suspect foul play?
Well, I don't suspect foul play, but Omar answers that question very clearly for us.
Okay, so fast forward, after he was allowed to go, granted bail or release, whichever it is, what happened?
Now, so this is what happened. Omar took a video of himself with thousands of dollars, holding thousands of dollars, displaying in the video, and sent to the family that this is what happens. You can't touch me. I just paid them $20,000.
We have that video as well.
I think I sent that video as well. I don't know. I sent a couple of videos. Yeah, if you can find. And he sent this video to my clients that nothing can happen to him.
Okay, so what's happening there? I see guns. I see 3 men with rifles.
Now, these are the kids of Omar.
That
he returned to Ghana with after a period of time when he thought the matter had ended. And these were the threats they sent to the family.
This is in Ghana?
This is in Ghana. This is in Specters Road. In fact, if you can see the car numbers, these are all Ghanaian cars registered in Ghana. And there's another son of Omar. All threatening, these are videos they sent as to how they were going to deal with the family of the defiled young lady.
Of the young lady if they spoke up.
If they make any attempt.
Was there any kind of negotiation to say, look, let's take this out of the police station and bring it home and solve it because it's a private issue? Was there anything like that?
Indeed there was. And that is actually what generated these guns.
What's happening on
now? This was an attempted murder on the elder brother of the young lady. He was shot several times whilst on his way home on the 23rd of December this year, this very year, just about 2-3 weeks ago. And this is the vehicle he was using. The vehicle was sprayed with bullets all over. And not only this, his uncle, who was also in the house at the time, around 1 a.m. In fact, this occurred almost simultaneously. they went spraying guns on him as well. And the guy you see here at this moment is the son of Omar. That's Khalid. In fact, that's actually the first son of Omar. And so now, after the attempt to get Omar arrested and prosecuted, when he was released, he rather went to the chief imam. He went to the chief imam, pleaded for clemency, pleaded with the chief imam to intervene.
How do we know he went to the chief
Because
imam?
we have a video of it, which I've also forwarded to your producers.
We do.
Probably they show some of the videos. And 2 videos, yes, actually. In fact, because we couldn't take a long shot, so they were cut into pieces.
Right.
And there you see Umar on his knees, pleading with Jamal, that is the grandfather, the other grandfather of Anud, the young lady who has been defiled. And then his mother and his parents were actually there. But the grandfather is almost in charge. So he was being pleaded with by the chief imam. And of course, my client was also sitting there. Hassan Zain was sitting in between the chief imam and Jamal. And Omar, the suspect, was on his knees, indeed, in fact, literally sitting on the floor, holding their legs.
We can't show Omar's face, but if there's any part of the video that's not showing Omar's face, perhaps we could put it out there so we get a clear understanding of what the lawyer is talking about.
How rather we show his face for everybody to know him for who he is, but I can understand. I can understand the implications.
Yeah, he's a suspect until proven so by court.
Absolutely,
so, yeah.
Absolutely. So this attempt was made, and the chief imam, he made some efforts to get the matter settled, but we had to implore on him that really this is a criminal matter. It's a heinous matter.
Right. If it's a criminal matter,
why
settle?
A religious leader cannot settle this matter, even though we do these on the blind side of the law. But
so where is the case headed now? I'm interested to know as we wrap up this conversation.
The saddest part is that even though the police have built the docket, they've charged this man, and they assured us that we're going to the court somewhere on the 4th of November last year, 2018. We are in 2019 and we are still never in court. In fact, just last week I read a post when these matters, the campaign was gathering momentum. The police responded that they are in touch with the family. And that is the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life.
That they are
in touch with the family, and that their matter is being given the necessary attention, and that they are prosecuting. Nothing is happening. They are not in touch with anyone. I have been going to the police every single day of my life, and they are not in touch with anyone.
They are not?
They are not in touch with anyone. In fact, we don't even know what is happening. We go there, and the only thing they keep telling us, we should hold on, everything will be all right. And that is the most nonsense statement I've ever heard in my life.
Slow down on your fruity language. What's holding the case? Because the police have every document, every detail they need.
They do.
Omar is available and accessible.
Absolutely.
So what's holding the case?
The best I can say is some persons they call persons from the Office of the President or from the National Security, or some few times from the Ministry of Interior. These persons have been thronging the police headquarters almost every time that we go there, and scaring the police away from making even an attempt to arrest these guys going around threatening and attempting to kill my clients. And the police do nothing simply because somebody walks in and says that he's from the Office of the President, somebody walks in from the Office of the Vice President, another person comes in from the National Security. And because of these statements, not that they have been substantiated, not that they are, we can't even confirm whether or not these people are even from the places that they claim they are from. But if they are, the question I ask myself is, what does the Office of the President got to do with a pure criminality? Somebody defiles and the Office of the President is interested in that. Somebody is attempting to kill and the President is involved or interested in this.
Perhaps they are putting up the name of the President.
Well, if they are, somebody should act.
Because the President
if somebody comes to you, deceiving you as a public officer, that is actually a criminal offense.
Are you disappointed in our pleas and prosecution?
I am not disappointed, but I see that we have the most corrupt police administration and that is not a disappointment because I thought.
Well, those are your words.
And those are my words, and I check them.
That's your camera
and
right
I can substantiate them.
That's your camera right there. I'm sure the IGP is
I can
watching.
Look into the eye and even call on the President to sack the IGP together with the entire team.
Slow down.
Because this is the most disappointing. Our lives are at stake. This is not a matter of slowing down. Our lives are at stake. People are going around killing my clients, and my life is at stake as a lawyer. We are in this country in 1979. Judges lost their life because they stood up for justice. That's exactly what I am doing here, and my life is at stake. So you can't tell me to slow down because really, I may not live to see tomorrow.
I'm worried about the 14-year-old lady, even though she's not a citizen
unfortunately, we've gone beyond that.
Who's been defiled. I want justice for her. I want everybody who is in this stake to be brought to book. The IGP watches this show. That's your camera. Make a passionate appeal to him.
I will tell the IGP to resign if he cannot have this matter prosecuted. It's very simple, because this is a matter that you have all the documents that you need. You have all the evidence that you need to prosecute a matter. There's absolutely nothing stopping the IG, his deputies, the directors of CID from prosecuting the matter. Indeed, prosecution does not necessarily mean you are guilty. You could go to court and we lose. At least that is fair. Give these people a fair hearing. Right. Allow justice to take its natural course. Shelving this man, protecting him from prosecution, does not serve the interest of anyone. Indeed, it is the only reason why they have the guts to go around trying to kill us. And it is only this that can stop him. If the matter is prosecuted, nothing would happen.
Thank you very much for your time. And of course, Justice is livid about this situation, of course, because he thinks justice is not being served. But
and also because I think our life is at stake.
With the Crown Legal Bureau, he says his life is at stake as well. I want justice for the 14-year-old young lady who has been defiled in the Republic of Ghana. The laws, I say, must work. IGP, good morning to you. Our friends at the Attorney General, good morning to you as well. Let's get justice. But coming up on your screen right now is the king of rap from the city of gold, Flo Kingston, after this break. He's a king of rap from the city of gold, and when you see him, he appears like a royal that he is. Flow to the king to the stone, Flo Kingston. Happy New Year, bro.
Happy New Year to you.
What's up with you?
I'm good, God's grace.
So far, so good?
Yeah. Charlie, we pushing, man.
You look like the king that you are.
Of course, man. We got to see me. I've made it a point to represent my Adinkra symbols, represent my tradition anywhere I go, because I can never be Jay-Z or Rick Ross.
Absolutely.
You know, so when you even listen to my album, you find some traditions, I bring my tradition to bear. Exactly, because I feel we have a rich culture that we should tell the rest of the world.
I see.
Yeah.
This is pure. This is sweet. Yeah. What's been happening with Flo Kingston?
Well,
last year, you want to do a review for me?
Yeah, I mean, last year, basically, I recorded my album, the Gifted 2 album.
Absolutely, sweet.
Yeah, thank you. So, and I featured a lot of artists, so I had to take my time with it and, you know, travel around and stuff. And I mean, from the beginning of the year, I played a couple of shows in Europe and stuff. I mean, like I was telling you, selling the tradition to the world. I remember when I was in Berlin to perform. It's on YouTube, Flo Kingston in Berlin. Absolutely. You would realize that all white people are there, and we are playing the Adwa and Kitty, fusing it to rap, and they went
crazy.
Nuts, you know. So basically, that's what I've been doing, recording the Gifted 2 album, and I'm glad it's out now.
The reviews I've got about the album is sweet. I mean, track after track, people enjoy it, and now people are confused which track to choose and pick as their favorite.
So you know that?
I know, man.
Wow.
I know. So let's talk about 2019 and the outlook for Flo Kingston. We've seen the Gifted album is moving into 2019, but what's there for us to know and see?
Well, as a man, I can only tell my plan, but the rest is for God to to judge. But for us, the plan is that we are going to concentrate on the album because, like you said, the album is too dope. I have like 18 songs on the album. I have Mr. Easy, Ochame Kwame, everybody on the album. And we are going to do a nationwide tour with it. We want to do a nationwide tour starting from probably next month. We'll confirm today. Then after that, we do, we take it to the world. But we want to do Africa too. Because people are telling me that they are hearing my songs in Togo and the rest of the African countries. And as you can see, as Ghanaian artists, we don't mostly push over there. So this year I want to do a little push in there.
Here's a scientist who likes to rap, who likes to flow, who likes to put lyrics together. And people are wondering how you juggle the two.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this all my life. Yeah, when I was in class 6, I was a rapper. When I was in JHS, I was a rapper, but still I was topping the mathematical class, you know. So, I mean, I think it's something God gave to me to share with the world. I mean, that's how I was born. And I've been doing it, like I said, I've been doing it through, when I was in Prempeh College, I was making some cool grades, but at the same time, I was the entertainment prefect. So it's been my thing since. So yeah.
Some say Ochame Kwame is the best rapper alive, but some say you are better than Ochame Kwame. What do you say?
I say he's my senior brother. No, but I mean, he's my senior. Yeah, he taught me a lot.
Right.
He taught me a lot. I mean, if he didn't do anything at all, he was like the sacrificial lamb in my family.
Okay.
Because those days when he started, my dad and my mom, they didn't understand. Like, you should be a lawyer. You should be this. Why are you doing music? Yes, you know, and they were not allowing him to. One day, my dad went to see his show at City Hotel.
Okay.
He sneaked to go and watch.
Okay.
And he was like, "Wow, so you are this talented. Then let me support you." So when the time came for us, myself and my kid brother Kunta, to do it, it was easier.
Where's Kunta, by the way?
Yeah, he's there. I mean, we just dropped the new song, myself and him. It's actually him featuring me.
Okay.
It's like some sort of rebranding thing we're doing.
See.
Yeah.
So, how's that working? The rebranding.
Yeah. I
The
mean,
brothers thing.
Yeah. It has gone good. You see, the times have changed. People who knew brothers in 2005 from those days when we were doing Wangalons. Now there are new kids.
Exactly, they're coming up.
You know,
chasing
like,
you up and down.
Exactly, and they know Flo Kingston, they know Kunta, they know brothers from the old. So we want to take our time how we juggle with the brothers Flo Kingston, Kunta, you know, so that we don't lose any of them.
Bless me and my audience with a few bars. Something for 2019. Any of your choice from the new album.
Okay, I have a song. Let them know.
Okay, let them know. We want to let them know.
Rap with the 60s rhythm. Let the Mayweather punches hit them. Even a dead body go feel them. When the king is on the mic, we they kill them. Let them, tell them, cast, we get them, crib on the mountain, chilling. But we know they won't rush. Their charge, I end the charge, and then the battery colo. But season my horns, and me blow me there. Flare boom, me shoot me pro be there. Hitting on the boy, what time with there? Me be behind your fair. What time with there? So many what they are post. So me paper why joke. Man contest here will vote. Me ban why I got when you code. Let them know.
Charlie, I like your style.
Thank
they
you.
Dinkra everything. Has the Ghana Tourism Authority contacted you to become a brand ambassador?
Not yet.
One of those.
Not
are
yet.
you disappointed that they are not contacting you?
Somehow, but for me, like I'm too focused. I mean, if I need 20
but we give the work to those who can do the work.
Exactly.
Not to those who claim they can do the work.
Because they charge and the charge and then the battery colo. It's the fact that
the charge I had in there.
Only the charge and then
the battery colo.
The phone, the battery colo, and the charge. So
it's
like that.
We talk. But Flo, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
And I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
I wish you all the best. We'll dance to Flo Kingston's song. It's Tuesday. Enjoy. Okay, Flo, we need to dance. Okay. Maybe you should.
Me sumo boy girl, to mo do my time crowd me I don't care. Hey, my barber sound chain instead. So many boys never cockering say. Okay. Wa mama tatu ya mama tene denne. So do bo me dinne mama feel it benze. My boy you mama wa to the center. I share that to channel who is with that che. Pretty rainbow, baby don't go. They don't really know you sweeter than the mango. Pretty bando, what's Congo? Oh baby.